I was also impressed that a commuter campus had such a feeling of community.
Hello, Dr. Olsen. Thank you for joining us today. Really appreciate you taking time on your schedule to come and answer some questions of us. So, my first question is, could you please introduce yourself, how long have you been working at Cal State LA, and what attracted you to our school?
Sure, I have been working here since 1993, so 30 years. What attracted me to the school was the students. When I came out here for an interview in spring of 1993, I taught 2 classes as part of the interview process. And I really liked the students who were in the classes. I liked the questions they asked. I liked their enthusiasm. I liked their thoughts about what I was talking about. They had no idea who I was, so it was a good response. And I had been on colleges and universities that were commuter campuses. And this one, while it is primarily a commuter campus, didn't feel like one to me. It felt like there was a community of students and scholars and faculty that were very invested in each other and in the community, and that's really what drew me here.
All right, awesome. What made you choose to major in communication studies?
The real answer is the smartest professor at my college when I was an undergrad taught me oral communication of the class. So it's 2 things. It was the class and it was her. I loved the class and I loved her. And I went up to her when the class was done and I said, if you're willing to be my advisor, she had been promoted to a VP of something, so she wasn't taking advisees. I said, if you will be my advisor, I will be a comm major. And she said yes, and that really changed the trajectory of my life. I'd always been interested in communication. I had taken a speech class in high school, my senior year, and I absolutely loved it. And I started, taking the lower division GE in college, and I loved those. And I thought, okay, if I like these classes that much, I will like the upper division classes even more. And so I had never really been in a class, and I use this mantra a lot, but that taught me how to think, how to write, and how to speak. So I've been in classes that did 2 of the 3, but the comm class and comm classes also added the to speak or the to communicate part. And I really liked that part of the major and sort of the class. It was, you presented your work publicly in speech class. Every speech we had to do in front of everyone. And that's what most of the classes were. And I really liked how that built community in a major.
All right. What are your favorite things about working at Cal State LA?
First off, the students. I think that we have incredible students here who are really committed to their education amidst all the other responsibilities that they have. And I came from kind of a tradition of, students were really just full-time students. They weren't married, they didn't have jobs, they weren't supporting grandparents or parents. It was very much a residential campus where kind of my history. And so coming here, I was like, wow, these students not only have to kind of manage being a student, they have to manage and balance all these other elements of their lives. And I really appreciated that. And it kind of has kept me engaged here. And also, so it's the students, it's the faculty. I think COM has an amazing group of faculty and who are also committed to the students. It's the staff who are committed to the students and to the faculty. And so for me, it's the robust community that we have here that kind of buoys people not only while they're in school, but when they graduate from Cal State LA.
What has been the department's greatest achievement during your tenure as chair?
Oh man, I would say number one, the greatest one is the growth of the major. When I started here in 1993, we had about 45 to 60 majors, which was very, very small. So we would have the required classes, we would offer them once, and we would have about 45 students in it, and that was it. And seeing the growth of not just the students in the major, but the faculty has been incredible. I mean, at our height, we went from about, say 60 in 1993. I've heard between 45 and 60, but say 60. We went from 60 to 750, which in that short of a period is phenomenal growth. And I think that growth was because of the kinds of students that were drawn to the major, which then drew more students to the major. So students who kind of go out into not just the world, but onto campus become the best recruiters for the major. And I used to always joke with students that if each of you could recruit one comm major, we would double. And we pretty much did that for many, many years. We doubled, tripled, quadrupled, you know, on down the line. And to me, it wasn't growth for growth's sake. It was really about, we have done so many good things that are very student-centered that I think made us a model for many departments on campus. And so I would say that's probably been one of the most wonderful things, because for me, being a communication lover, the more people that are a part of that major, the more enriched I think we become as a society, honestly. I don't, you know, I know I sound like a PR person for the department, but I am a PR person for the department, and I think we do a lot of really good things, and I think that is reflected in this boundless growth.
All right. What are the advantages of the comm program at Cal State LA compared to other CS?
I think one thing that does distinguish us is how student-centered we are. I think another one is how committed we are to social justice. We are, as far as I know, the only Cal State LA that has a social justice option in the program. And within that comes a lot of work regarding diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. I think that has been threaded through many of our classes before there was even an acronym for it. And I think, you know, we have a prison BA program, which those students contribute not only in Lancaster at California State Prison, but often they get released and then they're in classes here. I think that's unheard of in the Cal State, and I think the learning that occurs between those two populations of formerly incarcerated and non-incarcerated is a wonderful learning experience for all students and for faculty. I think that, you know, at the graduate level, we have, I would say, the best TA program amongst the Cal States. Other Cal States send their students to our MA program and to BTAs. And so I think those are some of the things that distinguish us from other Cal States. We've never had to go out and recruit. Students just kind of came to us. So, you know, we do all of the university events like Eagle Day, VIP Day, Preview Day, where we spend time with students who have applied or who have applied and been accepted. And then we do a lot of kind of boosterism of the program.
Please describe the advantages and characteristics of the 4 undergraduate program major options. What kind of careers can students choose after completing these 4 options?
Start with this. With a comm major, regardless of your option, you can pretty much do anything. And I even, if you were in any of my orientation sessions, when you were coming to Cal State LA, I almost always say that. Because you are, if you're able to speak, communicate, and then you're able to write and you're able to think. If you have those 3 skills, which we teach in almost every class, if not every class. If you're able to do those three, you are almost able to do anything that you want to do. And I've met comm majors in the strangest places who have done remarkable things, and what they do is they make the major mean what they need it to mean. In other words, they have a broad background. The major is very broad in the kind of common core classes that people have to take. And that common core lets people go to law school, regardless of what option you're in. So I could talk about each option and I could say, okay, law students, do social justice. But law students might also do mass comm. Law students might also do health comm, organizational comm. I should remember that. That's our prison BA. And so each of those options do have careers tied to them. And so I'm really interested in public health. So my health comm option is going to help me get a job in public health. But as I said, I could also be interested in social justice. Social justice has a public health component. Like if I'm interested in, equity in medical care, that social justice, but it's also health. If I'm interested in health campaigns, that's mass comm, which is also social justice, which is also health comm. And org comm, organizational comm, it's the same thing. A thing that's, I think, really wonderful about the options is that they are broad enough that you don't have to fret that if you take one, you've precluded certain career paths. And yet there is a bent to them or a shade to them that can help you if you want to be more kind of niche oriented, like you want a job in PR. It would look good to have a mass comm option. But again, you could also do that with health comm. You could do that with org comm. You could do that with social justice comm. It's really about what you as students and graduates of the program, what you make that degree mean to potential employers.
All right, well, you've been working at Cal State LA for over 30 years at this point. So after all these years, what keeps you coming back?
The students' commitment to learning and the faculty's commitment to learning and their commitment to the students. Also, I think undergirding all of that is I have a great interest in social justice myself, coming from my background and the religious tradition that I'm from and the work that I do out in the community. And I think that the stuff that we do is really about improving who we are as a people, as a community, as a city, as a neighborhood. And it's really about uplifting and strengthening and deepening are, I think, the best parts of our humanity. And because communication is both an art and a social science, we get the best of both worlds. Other departments are straight up either humanities, art, or social science or science. There are very few departments that start crossing boundaries. We, I think, take the best of the social sciences, the best of the humanities.
As chair, do you feel that the comm department has cultivated a distinct and unique culture on campus? And if so, in what ways?
Oh, yeah. We are seen as very collegial. We are seen as very student-centered, celebratory of our successes. And I think we are seen as able to mourn our losses. I often hear faculty from other departments say, can I come to your department and be a professor in your department? Because they see who we are and they see us out in the world and on campus and they see our students. So our students who have been very involved over the years with the student radio, student newspaper, EagleCon, you name it, our students have been involved with it.
All right, and last question, do you have any advice for all comm major students?
Grab as much knowledge as you can. And that's not just from the reading and the lectures and classes, but it's from each other too. And I also think that being aware of the community that you're constructing right now in every class could sustain you, honestly, for the rest of your life, as in your friendship network, your work network, you name it. And so I think being conscious of that while you're in it can only make that stronger when you're out of it. So that would be my advice.
All right, well, that's everything. So thank you again for interviewing with us.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Go Golden Eagles.
Go Golden
Okay,
Eagles.
there you go.
ComRocks. So that's one of our hashtags. Hashtag ComRocks. You can quote me on that.
All right, stop recording.
Thank you.